Hi and welcome to this video, and in this video I'm going to be talking about leaderboards in VelociDrone. So I'm just going to go to a leaderboard on VelociDrone. I'm going to access the football stadium for version 1.15. Okay, so here's the leaderboard for the football stadium, and what we can see is that there is race mode single class and there is 3-lap single class. So these are the two modes in which you can submit a time to the leaderboard. Now the difference between them is race mode single class is just a single hot lap, so the times here will just be one fast lap around the track. Now I'm going to be using the pylons track to do the demonstrations today of how this works. It's very quick to set a time on pylons, so we don't have to spend ages watching me flying around the same track. So we're going to be dealing with this leaderboard here. So if I just click more to go into this one, so we are in race mode single class here, and you can see the top time is 2.963 by Holdox, or Eric Holden from Norway. He did it with a Dreadnought, which is an X-class quad, which are the fastest flying quads, and for a pylons track that is normally the case. You can get a Mega class or X-class quad around that faster than you can a 5-inch because they have a higher top speed. So 2.963 will be the time that we're aiming for the fastest time in single class. And then if we look at 3-lap single class, so this is a race that is 3 laps in length, and for that you can see that the time is around 13 seconds for 3 laps. So we're doing about 4 or 5 second laps, between 4.5 second laps, I suppose, something like that. And that's been set with a mode 2 Ghost, as you can see. Okay, and that was on the 16th of September. So we have this data, we have these leaderboards that you can view on our website, and they show you all the times that have been set. So normally it's the case that for 3-lap there are less times, so you can see this only goes up to 67 for 3-lap, and then for single class there's normally the top 100. Now we actually do store more than the top 100, but the website will only show you the top 100. So if you want to get onto the website leaderboards, you need to get into this top 100, and for a lot of the tracks that's not too difficult to achieve. Okay, so that's a quick overview of the two types of leaderboard, where the data is held, which is on our website, and how you access it. And you can access all of the scenes and all of the tracks through the website to access this leaderboard times. Okay, so let's switch over to the sim. So here we are in the sim. Now what I want to talk about in the sim is that there is a leaderboard button in the sim as well. Now the leaderboard button in the sim is often mistaken for doing the same thing as the website does, which is displaying all of the leaderboard times for all users, and that is not what it does. So if you're a first time buyer of VelociDrone, or you've never used it, you haven't set any times on the leaderboards, if you click this leaderboard button, normally you'll just get an empty screen that says no times. And the reason you get that empty screen that says no times is because you personally have not uploaded any times to our website, because you haven't played the sim yet, you haven't submitted any times. For someone who's been using the sim for a while and has been submitting times, when they click this button, I'll do it now, it gives you all of your times for all of the scenes and all of the tracks that you've submitted a time for. So on Bando, for example, VRL Season 5 Track 3, I have submitted a single fastest lap and a 3-lap time. And you can see the times here, 44 and 144, and you can see that they are dismally poor and won't appear on the website leaderboard. But they are in the database. You can see that I'm position 105 for one of them and position 106 for the other. So you can get onto the leaderboard with your times. So let's now come out of here. Now we understand what this does. Let's come out of here and talk about some of the options that you have for how times are uploaded to the leaderboard and how the sim communicates to you about leaderboard times. So if we go into options and the main settings, there are 2 key settings in here, actually 3, but one of them is a slightly tenuous link, but there are two settings which control how the sim communicates with leaderboards. The first one is leaderboard time upload, auto leaderboard time upload, and by default it's set to no. Now what this does, if you turn it on, if you change this to yes, what this will do is whenever you fly a lap that is eligible, or a race that is eligible for upload to the leaderboard, it will automatically do it for you. So you never have to click a button or do anything, it will just upload times whenever you set a good time, or you beat your last best time. If you set this to no, it won't upload any times, even if they are eligible to be uploaded. Instead it will give you a button at the end of the race, and you have to click that if you want to upload your time. So that's the first setting. The second setting is lap time announcement. Now what this does is when you're flying your laps, you'll get a little panel that appears at the end of every lap in the bottom left that will give you some information. The information it gives you is where it thinks your time will be on the leaderboard if you were to submit it, and it can give you the time difference between you and the fastest time. So whatever your lap time was or race time was, and whatever the fastest lap time or race time was, it will tell you the difference in seconds between you and the fastest, and that's what lap delta time does. Or you can have it just in lap time, and in lap time it will just tell you what your lap time was. Now the reason for the two different values is that you can have them voice announced. So if you turn on voice announcements, where it will either mute everything so you can hear it, or it won't mute anything. So you can have two modes for voice announcement. But if you turn on voice announcement, then it will announce either the lap time that you did, so you don't have to be distracted to look to see what your lap time was, or it will tell you the difference between you and the fastest time in seconds, and announce that for you, read it out to you. That's what voice announcements do. If you don't turn voice announcements on, it will just display it in the bottom left where you can see it, either your lap time or the difference between you and the fastest person on the leaderboard. So those are the settings that are normally used for when someone is doing some leaderboard smashing, as we call it, leaderboard smashing, setting times for the leaderboard. And to me, lap delta time is probably the most useful one, because it tells me the difference between me and the fastest person for whatever mode I am in. Okay, so when we go to fly, there are some things that we need to do in order to make sure that we are able to upload our times to the leaderboard. Now by default the sim will come configured like this. So it'll be open class, it will be in laps mode, and it will be set to 3 laps. Set up like this, the sim will never ever upload times to the leaderboard. It will record your best times, and we can look down here at pylons and we'll see that my best lap is 4 seconds and my best 3 lap is 18 seconds, and it's recording this data locally in the sim. So I have got a local record of how well I'm doing and what my best times are, and it will always highlight in orange at the end of the race if you've beat your local best times, whether that be lap time or whether it will be the whole race time. So it will always highlight that at the end of the race in orange if they are new personal bests, and it will record those times locally, but it will not upload them to the leaderboard. The only time it will upload times to the leaderboard is if you select single. So this is single class. Now what this does is it makes sure that all the quads are configured to have approximately the same speed. So there isn't a way to make a quad faster so that you can get a faster time in single class. There are certain settings that you can configure, but everyone else has got those settings. What single class stops you from doing is making a completely unrealistic quad. So turning all the drag factors down to some ridiculously low value so it flies ridiculously fast, and then setting lap times with that, because nobody really wants to leaderboard compete with ridiculous quads. People want to leaderboard compete with quads that mimic real life. And they want the leaderboard to be based on pilot skill, not on did you manage to find the magic combination to make a quad go super fast and be easy to fly. And that's what single class is there to do. It's to make sure that the leaderboard is based on realistic flying quads, and that any time submitted are based on pilot ability, not pilot to tune the ability to tune the quad to be super fast and easy to fly. So in order for times to be uploaded, you must be in single class. You then have a choice. You can either set a single fastest lap, or you can set a race time over 3 laps. Now if you're going for fastest single lap, then you can either be in laps mode, and it doesn't matter what you do with the slider. If you put it on 3 laps, it's not going to go into recording your fastest time for 3 laps. If this radio button is selected, it's only looking at individual single laps. Or you can be in 2 minutes mode, which is racing for 2 minutes, and it'll just pick whichever lap was the fastest in those 2 minutes. If it's in laps mode and you're set to 6 laps, then it will pick whichever was the fastest of your 6 laps and give you the option to upload that. If you want to do a 3-lap race and submit a time for a 3-lap race, then you must click 3 laps, this button here. And this puts the sim into 3 laps mode, where it will upload times based on a race that is 3 laps long. So that's what these buttons here control. This one puts you in uploading a race time. Either of these 2 buttons put you into uploading a lap time. Okay, so let's get into the sim. Now I don't have a time set for this pylons track, so what we're going to do initially is we're just going to fly around slowly and set a slow lap time. Okay, there we go. So my lap time was 8.68 seconds, which you can see up here. There was a dialog that opened here, which we'll talk about in a moment. And obviously this is not a particularly fast lap. Now I've got this set to 7 laps. I don't really want to fly 7 laps before I can upload my time. So I'm just going to fly around a couple more laps so that you can see the panel that appears in the above my name Ash down here in the bottom left corner, because that's telling me the delta time that I was telling you about. So if you look at that this time around, when I go through the finish gate, what you'll see is it will tell me the time between me and the fastest lap. So I'm basically plus 3 seconds, 3.7 seconds, oops, was looking at the time there, on the fastest lap. So we know the fastest lap was around about 2.98 or something like that. So there we go, that's a plus 8, that one. So 11 seconds lap, plus 8 or minus 8 gives you 3. So you can see it's telling you the difference between you and the fastest lap. And if I fly faster, you'll see that delta time coming down, and the faster I fly, the more that delta time will come down. So now I'm only 1.6 seconds off the fastest lap. And you can see that on the leaderboard now, it was telling me there that I was now in position 83. If I just fly a slower lap again, and just show you this, that is outside of a top 100 time, it'll say 101. Because the sim only stores the top 100 times locally. So if you're outside of the top 100, wherever you are, it will just say 101. It's its way of saying outside the top 100. Okay, so let's not do that. Let's just cancel this race. I'm just going to change this to 1 lap now, so that we're just doing a single lap. So this just be 1 fast lap, and then we get to submit our time. And I'm not going to fly this particularly fast. As I said, I didn't have a fast lap on this track already, so we're just going to fly this at a reasonable pace like that, and done. So I can see I'm plus 3.6 off the fastest time, and if I just bring that back up again, here's my best lap, 6 seconds, which is 3.6 seconds off of the fastest time, we know that. And I have the ability to upload it because I am in single class mode. So I can upload, and you can see it now tells me where on the leaderboard I am. Now I'm in position 122, so I won't appear on the website because it's outside the top 100. And I can see that I've got a delta of minus 3.6 to the fastest time. I'm 3.6 seconds behind it because we know the fastest time is just under 3 seconds. I can also see people who are faster than me and how much faster I need to fly to get ahead of them, which is not very much. And I can also see people who are slower than me and how far behind they are to me, and then I can see my time. And in the middle here it tells me what track it is, which is pylons. Okay, so I now have a time on the leaderboard. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to fly a time slower than that, just to show you what happens. So I need to be over 6 seconds for this lap, which I think we're going to manage quite capably here. There we go. So this time I've got a delta of plus 6.8, which is slower. My lap time was about 9 seconds, as we see here. If I try to upload this one, existing lap time is faster than this new one. So it's just letting me know that my time is already quicker on the leaderboard, so it's not going to take that one. Okay, so that gives you an idea of how single lap racing works and how leaderboard times are uploaded, what the delta time down here is telling you, and what the leaderboard notification is telling you. Now, one thing to bear in mind is that if there was a competition going on over an evening, so if we announced a new track and everyone was doing leaderboard smashing one evening on that new track, the internal tables that the sim uses to work out where you are on the leaderboard are downloaded when the sim starts. So if you're flying all evening and all your friends are flying all evening uploading times to the leaderboard and you don't restart the sim, then the sim will always be working with times from the beginning of the evening when you started your sim. So how do you refresh the leaderboard without restarting the sim? Because you may want, after an hour of leaderboard smashing, you might think actually it'd be a good idea to update these times because people could be going faster than me and I may need to push harder. And that's what this button is for, download leaderboard. What this does is it downloads all of the leaderboard times from the website without restarting the sim. So you can click it and it says it's getting leaderboard reference times have been refreshed, and it also tells you if it took over 15 seconds to appear it may have timed out and to try again. So this has now refreshed my simulator with new times from the website, just in case people were leaderboard smashing while I've been flying my sim, and there are new times there that I need to be aware of because I want to be in position 1. So that's what this refresh or download leaderboard button does. It doesn't show you leaderboards, which is again a mistake that new players to the sim make. Okay, so now let's change. Let's go over to 3 laps. So in 3 laps mode, we're now competing for race time. So if I now fly around and do 3 laps, what you'll see is the little delta time thing will actually calculate each lap where it thinks I am on the leaderboard. So it thinks I'm position 58 and about 5 seconds behind. If I speed up a bit here, I'm now position 54 because I went a bit quicker. Let's just whiz around a bit more here. And now it thinks 52 because I picked up the pace a little bit more. So each lap it's trying to work out where I will be based on my current time and telling me how far away I am, which was about 11 seconds from the fastest time. And you can see here that none of these times are highlighted in orange, so I didn't set my best lap and I didn't set my best race time ever either, and I think from memory it was 4 seconds and 18 seconds I think was my best time for 3 laps, and 4 seconds was my best time for a single lap. I can upload the time, and what it will do is it will upload the race time. Now one of the things that people get confused about here is that if you look at these times here, 7 seconds, 4 seconds and 4 seconds, so that's 7, 11, 15 seconds. So, but my race time here is 25 seconds. So what is going on here? Because shouldn't this time here be just the sum of these times here? And the answer to that is no, it shouldn't. Because when you start a race, the race timer starts when the gun goes off. But your lap times are only counted between the first gate and the last gate. And on this track, the first gate is here and the last gate is off to my right here. You can't quite see it, but it's off to my right. And there is a distance to fly between the last gate before you go back to the first gate again. So if you look at the race time, you've got the time for me to get to the start grid to the pylon, first pylon, and then you've got the next couple of laps where there is time where I'm flying between the last gate and the first gate, and that needs to be added on. So this is total race time, not the sum of how quickly I got from the first gate to the last gate, and that's why this is a larger value. Now some tracks are set up where the start gate is also the finish gate, and in those obviously you don't have any distance to fly between first gate and last gate because the first gate is also the last gate, but you still have to add in the time it takes you to get from the start grid to the first gate. So when you're in 3-lap mode, it is important how quickly you get off the start line and get to the first grid. It is important how quickly you get from the last gate back to the first gate if it's not a combined start and finish gate. If I click upload here, it'll upload my time. You can see my time is 25 seconds. You can see the fastest time is 14 seconds, and you can see that the delta there is about 11 seconds between me and the fastest, and you can see who's above me, the 3 times above me and the 3 times below me, and the deltas times between those, and the track name again in the middle. So that is how you submit a time for 3-lap. If we want to talk quickly about what single class does, single class locks out drag front, drag top, drag side and quad weight. So you can't change the quad weight and you can't change the front, top and side drag. And what this means is it means that you can't make a super lightweight quad, and you can't make a quad that is super slippery through the air, that is really easy to steer, and really build an unrealistic quad that is only ever used for setting times on the leaderboard. And that's what single class is really designed to do, to stop people from making ridiculous quads that fly nothing like real quads. What you can still do in single class is you can still change your props, you still can change the propeller power, you can change your prop profile, you can change prop wash, min throttle, air mode. Battery emulation you can't change, although what I will say is when you're in single class, battery emulation gets turned on, and you do get to choose what battery you use. So you can use a 1300 pack if you want, because 1500 is the default, which is a bit heavier. So you can drop this pack size down in order to get a little bit of weight off of the quad. That's something that's worth knowing. But you can't turn off battery emulation. Battery emulation is always on for single class. So you have some things that you can play with, and lift downforce controls how pitch sensitive your quad is, how quickly it will climb when you pull up and that sort of stuff. But obviously that doesn't change how quickly it can go in a straight line, how quickly it can corner and those sort of things. It just changes the feel of the quad. So you can change things that will make sure the quad is still flying like a real quad, but you can't change things that will allow you to make an unrealistic super fast quad that weighs nothing. And that's the idea of single class, is to make sure that things stay in the realms of realistic for leaderboard times, and that the times that are submitted are based on pilot ability, because it basically equalizes all the quads to be approximately the same speed. And they just feel a little bit different to fly, but they aren't. No one quad is faster than another. Okay, I think that pretty much covers everything for leaderboards. I hope it helps to explain how all the different elements of the sim work with leaderboards. I know it's been quite a long video and it's taken a bit of time to explain, but there is a lot of functionality around this, and once you know how it works, actually it's really quite straightforward. Okay, that's it, and I'll see you on the next video.